Join me in welcoming Kim Larson, Global Head of Creators at YouTube, and YouTube creator Brooke Monk to the stage.
Good morning, and welcome. And first of all, thank you so much to CreatorIQ for the lovely preamble and welcoming us to the main stage. I'm Kim Larson, and I'm thrilled to be here today. I run the creator team here at YouTube. And as Chris said, this is a particularly special year for us. It's our 20th birthday, which is hard to believe. And over the past 2 decades, we have transformed from a tiny video sharing platform to a global cultural force. And I'm going to give you just a couple pieces of data so you get a sense for the scale. It blows my mind every day. It's hard to wrap your arms around it. But we have 200 billion shorts views every single day globally. We have 1 billion monthly active podcast users. For the last 24 months, Nielsen has recognized us as the #1 streaming platform in the US. And most importantly, to myself and to creators like Brooke, we've paid out $100 billion in the last 4 years to creators, artists, and media cos. And so, the economics are important, obviously, but most important is the community and the fans. And that's why we have Brooke here today. A lot of platforms talk about viewers. We talk about fans. And what I love about Brooke is she has this incredible community that started as viewers, and they are devout fans, some of which have been following her for years and years. Creators let people like her into their lives, and they build this sense of trust and intimacy, which for all of you, that's what makes users and viewers vote. So I'm incredibly fortunate, without any more preamble, to introduce Brooke. So I'm going to give you a couple stats from her, because they're mind-blowing. She has 10 million subscribers here on YouTube. That's amazing. Snaps for that. Across all of her socials, she has 55 million followers. And that's only part of the story, because she's also an incredible business person. She's got this entrepreneurial drive. You're so authentic, so unique. She does lifestyle vlogs. She does sketches, makeup, as you can tell, and fashion tutorials. I'm like sitting next to this beautiful woman here. It's so exciting. But it's that business savvy perspective we're going to dive into. So without further ado, Brooke Monk.
Thank you so much. This is so amazing. This is such an incredible opportunity, being able to engage with all of you guys and really talk about my experience, and that being something that's valuable to you is just so incredible, and I'm so excited about it. I think that all the engaging questions that we're going to talk about today will be super helpful, so I think it's going to be amazing.
We're going to get into the tea, you guys. We're going to get into the tea. Talk to us about when did you realize that being a creator or being a YouTube creator was more than a pastime and it really became a job?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always had a heart for YouTube. I actually used to watch a lot of beauty tutorials. I don't know if you can tell. But I used to watch a lot of beauty gurus, still do, obviously. That really gave me an interest in YouTube for the longest period of time. And when I was 15, I convinced my dad to let me start a YouTube channel. It only got 200 subscribers, and you can't find it now. Don't go looking. If anyone's ever posted a YouTube video at 15, you don't want people finding that. Everyone knows that. But because of that, I really developed an interest and love for it. And by the time I was 16, almost 17, I started creating a lot of short-form content, which really connected for me. And once I got into the nitty-gritty of that, I realized, hey, maybe this is something that could become a job. I always, still to this day, feel that it is more of a hobby because I love it so much, and I'm so thankful for that. But when I was 17, and this is going to be a little nerdy, I was homeschooled. This is a big thing to preface. And I actually graduated a year early because I am so hyper-focused on succeeding, and I was when I was young, that I wanted to have a gap year without being a year behind everybody else. So I was like, I need a gap year. I don't know if I want to go to college, but I want to try the social media thing. And I went all in. By the time I was 18, I got my first apartment, and I was like, you know what? It's all or nothing. You're never gonna know unless you try. It's scary, but what in life that's worth it isn't scary. So I went for it, and now I'm here. And once I was about 18 and a half, I was like, hey, I can make a living off this. And I've been going for it ever since, and I'm so lucky and so blessed that it's been able to be my full-time job for about 5 years now.
Wow, 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 wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
So let's get in and talk about your community and your fans. Is there anything you notice about your fans, the expectations they have for you, or the behaviors you see on YouTube versus some of the other platforms you post to?
Absolutely. And I think this is consistent for every creator that I've met when it comes to YouTube in particular, is you grow with your audience so much more. There's so much depth because you have the short form content, you have the long form content, there's a variety. A lot of people who engage with my content got introduced to me from my short form content. They see it, I post literally every single day, so it's really spamming their feed, but once they get a little more interest in like, hey, I've seen this girl a couple times, they kind of go over to the long format and they learn about, you know, me and my upbringing and what I care about. And I love doing makeup and hair and, like you said, like fashion and such. So it's so cool to be able to really share the depth of that experience with my viewers. And because of that, I've noticed that they're so much more heavily engaged in my story. In fact, I don't know if any of you guys ever seen my content. If you have, you've seen Sam. And there's a video up on my YouTube channel of when we first met and he picked me up from the airport. Like, they have been through the whole thing. So sometimes I'll see comments and people will be like, how'd you and your boyfriend meet? And there'll be replies on YouTube and they're like, how do you not know? Have you not watched the video? And they're just so heavily involved in my entire life that it doesn't even feel like, you know, like fan or subscriber. It feels like a third cousin or a friend because they actually know the story of my life, sometimes better than I do. They remember things I don't even remember. They tell me something in the comments, like, oh, remember when you did this and that? And I'm like, I did? Oh, wait, I did. So the depth of the community there is just different, and I haven't experienced that even on like a minor scale on any other platform. It's really unique to YouTube.
Amazing, amazing. Well, so I'll throw in a little data point there to back that up. So this is a pretty recent Ipsos study. Backs this up and says that users are 98% more likely to trust creator recommendations for YouTube creators over other platforms. And it's because of people like you who've built that kind of trust-based relationship with your audience. So now we're going to pull back the curtains and get into some of the tea of how these partnerships actually come to life. So let's talk about strategy for you. Walk us through brand deals. Where do they fit into your content strategy? And how do you manage that process relative to all the other content that you're making?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my number one rule with any company that I work with, any brand, and you know, you'd think this is consistent, but sometimes it's not, and viewers can really recognize this, is that if I don't use the product, I don't work with the person or the company. Or if it's something I've never tried before, I want ample time to be able to try the product and make sure it's something I genuinely care about, because it takes so many years to build up that trust with your audience, and you can break it in a moment. So for me, that is just a core value, and that's super important to me. That's the baseline with anybody that I work with, is that I actually care about and enjoy the products. Outside of that, if anyone who's worked with me here, you guys know I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you haven't talked to me on LinkedIn, check your DMs. I'm probably in them. But I love LinkedIn. I love engaging with the actual economy behind all the brands. And me and my amazing manager, Devane, have actually taken kind of a different approach of being able to contact you guys directly a lot of the time. And I hop on calls with y'all. We share creatives. A lot of times, if you have worked with me, you know I go in my notes app and I curate just a list of ideas I think would perform best based on my audience. And whenever I do get to that point creatively of working with companies and brands like yourself, I really try to like sandwich it where it feels like the content will perform well outside of whether you knew it was a partnership or not. I almost don't want it to feel like a partnership. I want it to be so engaging and still like relatable and authentic that people view the content and they're like, oh, wait, no, I like this product. I see you're using it. I didn't even realize it was a partnership because it's so genuine. And that's always my goal with every video I create. And whenever I see the comments really resonate with that, I'm like, okay, I did a good job. But that's really my outlook and my stance on how I work with all of you guys.
Well, can we dive a little deeper into that? Because I'm sure you have no shortage of brands that want to work with you. How do you vet through them and decide? Do you test them? What does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, most of the time, a lot of the brands that I do work with, I already use their products and really like them. I know a lot of you guys also know, obviously, about like PR and such. I try that stuff. In fact, this is like Princess Polly. This is PR. So you guys are amazing. And a lot of times I'll get to mess around with them, and be like, I love this product. And then I tell my team, I'm like, hey, I love this product. Are they doing any campaigns? I have this idea for this campaign. And I kind of build creatives around that. So a lot of times it's direct outreach from myself of having a creative idea of a company that I want to work with. And I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you want to like maybe have a conversation, hop on a call? And that's really been just so incredible, especially over the past couple years of being able to develop that relationship, especially with like working with brands on a repeat basis. Once we graduate to like the group chat text, that's when you know we're actually homies, because I love to be actually involved in talking with a lot of the people I have partnerships with and being in like the group text and responding directly and not always having to go through like my team or LinkedIn. Again, check those DMs. But that's really how I kind of format my process of working with brands.
Amazing, amazing. Well, talk to me, because I think one thing, hopefully, that comes across is this incredible degree of professionalism that sits behind these creators. Talk about, you've referenced your team a couple times. What's the team that sits around you?
Well, I have been working with my manager, Devane. I'm going to shout you out. Devane, since I was 17. I'm very lucky. I have an incredible team. He's so amazing. He works day in and day out for me, and always make sure to really prioritize things that I care about. Also, I have an incredible team at WME that really facilitates a lot of deals that I work with. They're amazing as well. And then my boyfriend, Sam, as well, helps with a lot of content strategy. He's in a lot of it. If you guys have seen any of my content, he's also just like
And he's also here
heavily
today,
involved.
by
He
the way.
is.
He's somewhere here.
There he is. Yeah, he comes up with so much of my content strategy. In fact, a lot of the time, I'll see a brief that you guys send me, and I'm like, I have a couple ideas. What do you think? And he's just incredible at it. I'm so lucky. Such a great partner in the business.
Well, now getting a little bit of even more of the nitty-gritty. So you post so much, Brooke. Like you are a machine. It's amazing. When you have a brand partnership, is there a day of the week that you do your partnership work? Like, how do you even manage your calendar?
Oh, that's not well. I really try to prioritize just things that I care about. So for me, I've tried to pivot towards working Monday through Friday on things that are brand related, because that's usually when you guys respond anyway. You need your weekends, I understand that. So that's when I focus on a lot of that work so that I can get it back as fast as possible for you guys. And whenever I see like the deadlines, if I can do that a little earlier than when it's due, that's always a go-to for me. But since I referenced Sam, he helps me so much with the creative on a lot of partnerships that aren't necessarily branded as well. So he'll focus on that content and building out some ideas for me for the day, and I'll focus on the brand and the partnerships end of it and making sure that it's done very well and to all expectations of the brief before prioritizing, honestly, some of my other content, because it really is important to me that whenever I'm working with you guys, the quality of content that I give to you is just of the highest amount. So I really prioritize that. Even if I gotta pull late nights, I don't care. It's gonna get done. It's part of the job. It's what I care about. So it doesn't even feel like a job, actually, if I'm being honest. It's just so much fun. So it's like a little hobby day in and day out, actually.
So you guys heard it here. You can work 5 days a week. She's working 7, so you guys can take the weekend off. Well, you just got to the crux of it all, and as marketers here in the room, we look at ROI and trying to really measure the success of partnerships like this. What are the metrics you look at, and how do you know if a partnership is successful or maybe not?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, always the go-to to view is, how many views does it get, pending there's no boost code, and how many views did it get? The engagement, the like ratio, the comments, the saves, especially on videos, if people are saving videos, then you can really tell they actually care about the content. And then obviously, like if it's a campaign that has like a link and you can see the back end ROI on all of that, that's usually something my brand partners can really view on their own as well, but I always look there. And that's always been like kind of the metric that I judge it by. Another like kind of, I don't know if this is more niche, but thing I look at is in a couple months, if people are referencing, like I see a comment being like, oh, what did she wear in that video? Or what was her hair routine? And somebody will respond and be like, oh, I saw this video and it was this partner. Then I know I did a good job because it resonated with people and they're like, oh, I remember the product that she uses. And my own followers are engaged in actually responding to people commenting on my videos for me about what products I use. And that's always like, yes, I did a good job.
I will go off script for a second and just like put out a personal request and call to action, because I think Brooke, well, my experience is that those metrics and performance metrics don't always make it back to the creator. And so they're often left in a position where they can't advocate for themselves and the metrics that they've driven. So just putting that on your radar as you think about the engagement doesn't stop when the campaign launches, and making sure that the data flows back to them so that she can advocate for her next job. Let's talk about missteps. I'm sure you've maybe been through some partnerships which didn't go as planned or the fit wasn't quite right. Can you talk through like when does that happen, and any tips for this group?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all heard it from your creators already. It's like, we want creative freedom, we want creative freedom. But part of the reason that we're so stingent on that is because, first of all, as a disclaimer, I know you guys need your briefs. You have to go through all of your teams. It makes so much sense, and that's very important for the campaign. But also just being able to have that creative freedom. These creators have their audience, the people who follow them. It didn't just show up overnight. It's because they know their tone of voice. They know what's authentic for them to create. And when it's been refined to what is maybe, looks good to a marketing team, but won't translate in social media as well, not always, but a lot of time, your audience feels that, and it doesn't feel genuine, it doesn't feel authentic. You guys consume content the same way that you distribute it and facilitate it. You can feel when something's like, hey, this is off-brand, this is not their normal content, this isn't the normal way that they typically, create their videos, and you feel that. I feel that when I, watch and consume content from creators that I like to watch. And so having that creative freedom is so vital to being able to be authentic with the campaign and how it performs. And that's number one. Also, this may be a little bit annoying, but I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I'm here to be honest with you guys. If someone like a creator sends a campaign to you by the deadline, and it takes 2 weeks to get back to them, and you give us 24 hours to fix it or redo it, it can be really difficult to create high quality content that's just as creative with that feedback, because a lot of times there's schedule conflicts, or you're traveling, or you're balancing other brands at the same time. Whereas when you have the same amount of time, or even 4 or 5 days to fix it, it's a lot easier to create content that you're going to be really proud of and want to work together again. So just respecting each other's time the same way that you would want the creator to respect your deadlines is really important to me.
You heard it here. Looking ahead to the future, one thing, I know it's challenging for us as a platform, and I'm sure it's incredibly challenging for you as a creator, is we're always evolving and we're always innovating. We recently announced a few new product features and enhancements at our Made on YouTube event, which was a few weeks ago in September in New York. A couple of those I think are really relevant to you and how you post. There's something we launched called Dynamic Bracketed Mentions, which we haven't launched yet, but it's coming, and it's basically our way to insert a piece of sponsored content into a video in a dynamic way, much like a podcast read. And so this has had a very interesting reaction across the creator sphere, and I'm curious to get your reaction to that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. It's so great for me because then I can kind of save the products that I'm working with and put them on my shorts and such, and really be able to have my audience find the products that I use without maybe having to use the search engine as much to find them. We all progressively get a little bit lazier online, myself included. So it's so great to be able to have that be something that's easy and very accessible for people to be able to find the products that they're looking for. Also, it's great from my perspective to see what my audience cares about that I'm doing. If I'm wearing, sometimes it's random. It's like a highlighter or a lip gloss or something. You're like, I didn't know that was the big thing that you wanted to know about. And being able to see those back-end analytics of how much the audience is engaging and purchasing that product, then take that to a brand like yourself and be like, hey, my audience really likes this product. I'm a loyal customer. I'm already using this product all the time. Let's work together and have a conversation. And I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to see how it performs. I mean, kudos to you guys at YouTube. I think that it's a fantastic, step forward in really being able to tie brands and creators together and being transparent about how we can work together best. I'm super excited about it.
All right, everyone. Well, you heard it here. Thank you so much, Brooke, for all that you're doing for the platform and for giving us your time today. You guys, big round of applause for Brooke.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.